This is the Weekly Scramble, a place where we chat about life over a cold one or two. It's time to belly up to the pod with Mike Fratelloni and your host, Chris Reuvers.
Welcome to November and welcome to the Weekly Scramble. My name is Chris Reuvers. By my side, his name is Mike Fratelloni with Fratelloni's Hardware and Garden Stores. Hello, good sir.
How you doing, Reuvers?
I am good. So we've got a number of hard-hitting issues to tackle.
Yeah, we do.
But first, before I forget, you actually walked in while I was meeting with a new client that's going to be advertising with us, and it couldn't possibly have been cooler. Because I got to say, I know I'm your friend, and I know we've been working for some time together, but damn, you can be cool sometimes.
Well, good. That at least you think that.
I do.
Right?
I
at
do.
Least, yeah.
So our a new client of ours, friends from Slush Buster, which I had the chance to be introduced to their product a while ago, but this is the first time I had met them. They were in to just talk about campaign, what we want to promote, things like that. And then all of a sudden you go, oh, I'd love to have that in my store. And I'm like, well, that was easy.
Well, it wasn't exactly that. It wasn't exactly that. You had
Right.
said, hey, did you, because you had introduced me to them, but they
Right.
didn't really catch who I was because I was a guy at the radio station, right?
Sure.
They didn't catch my last name. And then you said, well, hey, are you in Fratelloni's? And the guy said, no.
Those jerks
they
wouldn't
don't
call us
really,
back.
They didn't really answer my calls. And so I'm hearing that from the other room because I'm sitting near Joe's desk, right? And I can hear that from the other room. And all of a sudden I just said, hey, buddy, you want to put him in my store? Let's put him in my store. And then he's like,
Such a baller
yeah. And he was like,
move.
how many stores do you have? And I'm like, I'm the Fratelloni's you were just
That's
complaining
me.
about. And he wasn't complaining.
No,
but
no, not
you
at
could
all, no.
see
It
he
was
was
so
like,
funny.
he was frustrated because he had called us and we said, we don't know what this product is. We don't, we didn't do our due diligence on the greatness of what the Slush Buster is. And, I don't think we tell people what it is right now because I think it's kind of cool to build up the momentum.
Yes.
But it will definitely make you think whether you should kick them off or slush bust them off. That's all we should say.
Yeah.
Kick it off or slush bust it off.
It's such I can picture it in my mind. It's such a guy thing to have. You know what I mean?
100%.
Where it's one of those you bring it home. And she said, "Well, what's that for? Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
my.
I'll
This is
show
my
you.
thing."
I'll show you what it's for.
Anyway, more to come on that. But it was really cool to meet them in person, and then just purely coincidental that you happened to be here at the same time I was meeting with them, which was just fun.
Yeah,
And-
so the guy he made his biggest sale, and we have great radio presentation now. So.
But you know what? And I will be honest, and I'm going to get a little bit sentimental and sappy, but honest to God, and people are going to think I'm dumb, and that's fine. A lot of people do anyway. It's one of the things that I truly, truly love about doing this job, and it's connecting people.
Yeah.
I do purely love that.
Yeah.
Where
Being
I've gotten to
a connector is
meet
good.
so many great people through client relationships, whether it's our friends at 30 Bales Restaurant, our buddies at Elevated, whatever. It's just one of those things that's been really cool and unique about the job that I have here, and I absolutely love it.
we need to make a date for 30 Bales too soon.
So it's funny you say that,
Yeah.
because when I was doing their ad last week, Todd let me know that the short rib pot pie is back, and I swear to God, I know they pay to be on GL, but it's first of all, it's how Minnesotan can that get? It's pot pie, which I absolutely love,
And short rib.
and I love short rib. It's so spectacular.
I do remember when we
short
had
rib pot pie.
we did our show there.
Yep.
And the guys from Garage Logic were there. Not Reuvers, Souchere and
Rookie
Kenny
and Kenny.
And
Johnny.
and they just were hecklers.
Yes.
Like full on heckling. I was like, oh my God, we're going to have to bounce someone out of here, and it's going to be our workmates.
And the thing about it is, you weren't anticipating it, and I completely was.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was, I think we had the quiz, like, how much do you know about Garage Logic? And we
Right.
quizzed them, and that did not go over
No,
terribly
and it
well.
was a disaster, and that was almost better than it going
Yeah,
well.
super smoothly.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So you have a number of things that you want to get off your chest. So I acquiesce the floor to you,
Well,
sir.
I wanted to ask you first, do you call it budding or budging in line?
I think I call it budging in line.
See, and I'm a budding in line guy. I'm a
Budding in
D,
line.
and you're a G guy,
All
right?
I'm going to look
I
that up.
think it's this. I know it's the same thing, but I think people outstate Minnesota.
Is this like a duck, duck, goose, and
I
duck,
think it
duck,
might be.
gray
In
duck?
fact, my one buddy, my buddy Tyson, who says budging, he's from Northfield, right outside of Faribault. So maybe it's a Northfield Faribault thing.
In fact, I'll say this. I think I call it cutting in line.
Well, yeah, and
more
I
than
could say
anything.
cutting in line too. But so my daughters had tryouts for volleyball, right?
Okay.
Sunday morning, 8:00 in the morning.
Oh, dear God.
Line of, and I'm not kidding, 400 people to get inside this thing.
This is at a high school?
This is at a professional volleyball place, right? Not
Got it.
professional,
Okay.
a place just for volleyball.
Okay.
And in line in front of us, this little gal walks up, and the mom walks up and says, "Oh, here's your friends." And she steps right in line.
Oh.
And patient me says, I can't take this. I'm going to have to say something or I'm going to have to leave. Because I just can't imagine the audacity of somebody doing that. Mm-hmm. I just can't. And so then my daughter, her best friend comes up to us. Mom drops her out of the car. She walks right up to us and says, "Hey, how you doing?" We say, "Hey." And she goes, "Is it all right if I just come in line with you?" And I said, "No, it's not all right. Unless you get the okay from every single person behind us, 75, 80 kids back." I'm like, "I'm sorry. I just can't do it. I can't do it." So I'm standing there in line, staring at this woman, this mom. The kid I'm not mad at, right? The kid is the kid.
The kid's just doing whatever mom says.
The mom said, "Hey, you're going here." And I'm staring at this mom. And I'm with my ex-wife happened to be there. And she said, "I mean, you have to walk away. You have to go." Because I'm like, I can't take it. I got to say something to her. Mm-hmm. I got to walk up there and say, "Oh, I'm sorry. I saw that you came in the line late. Did you get permission from everyone?" "You did not get it from us. So you can go behind us. But, if you get permission from the person behind me."
Right.
And they 100% would not let me do it. And I said, that is the downfall of society. Because what should happen is when somebody walks in and buds in front of line, the entire line should say, "Hey, getting back.
We've all been waiting longer than you have."
We've all been waiting. Yep. Get here. I didn't wake myself up at 6:40 on a Sunday morning to be in line 100th out of the hundreds of people to have some random snot roll in 5 minutes left and pull up in the line in front of me. It ruined my whole day.
It sounds like it.
I'm honest to God, I'm still mad at this moment, and I know who the woman is, and she knows who she is.
Ooh.
And if she's listening to that, bad karma, lady, bad karma.
Well, there's a number of things to dissect with something like this. Number one, if this was, they're just going to take the first however many people.
No, they didn't get any competitive advantage from it.
Okay.
Like it didn't make them win a spot on the team or lose a spot. That they didn't get anything other than
time.
They saved themselves an hour of not standing in line. And it was like chilly out Sunday morning,
that's not
right?
cool.
So we were standing in line for an hour. They were standing in line for 5 minutes. Unfair.
Do you know what I can't help but think of right now, though? And I share your pain.
Okay.
I do feel your pain.
Because you would lose your mind.
I would not be.
Sushirai would have killed the person.
But the thing is, that is something in that particular spot there. I would have to send my wife with my kids. There's no chance I would be able to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I would try, but I know because I tend to be somewhat of a patient person, but and it's not even the time. Yeah, it is probably also the time of the day. I wouldn't handle that well. Just waiting in line, period. That's why Black Friday has never done anything for me.
There's
none of that stuff.
For me. Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to be the first person to go see the new Star Wars. Who gives a damn? Oh, I'm going to get the new iPhone. I don't care. I'll wait 6 months and get it in 10 minutes, and I won't have to stand in line for 4 days. I don't care that I'm the first person that gets the new iPhone. So the whole waiting in line aspect, I'm not in elementary school anymore. I'm not waiting in line.
Right? This was forced, so I had no choice. But then I'm looking at this volleyball place. I'm saying, okay, hey, they have a huge facility. I mean, huge. 10 courts, say, right? Okay. And all this other space. I'm like, why are you making everybody wait outside? Why? What if it was raining?
Right.
What if it was like 15 degrees colder? Why don't you just line us up on the inside? You have, 150,000 square feet. Line us up inside.
Wow.
What are we doing? So I'm losing my mind. The place is awesome, though, by the way.
Bet.
Yeah, it's cool.
So, you know what I'm thinking of, though?
Yeah, what's that?
And I feel your pain.
Okay,
I do.
all right.
But I'm picturing, the Progressive commercial where the guy's signing books and people are bringing him snacks and you know the bit, right? The Progressive, you're turning into your parents.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
so
yes.
You get
Yeah.
I'm now picturing the guy that says, "Hey, we got to tighten this line up here."
Yep.
That's what I'm picturing. That's all I can help.
I can promise you, if I was 10 years older, if I were 10 years older, if I was 61 instead of 51, I would have absolutely said, "Hey, Toots,
time to
move it back.
Time to head her to the back.
You can chit chat with your friends for a little bit. Right. Your sweet, cute little daughter, nice girl, I'm sure. She can stand here and sit with and talk to these guys. But when the line starts moving, you need to go back to your spot.
And the other part of why I know that wouldn't be a good place for me is, as I'm shaking my pen at you, why that wouldn't be a good spot for me. And I don't know if you share the same viewpoint on this as I do, but my tolerance for other people's kids is basically non-existent.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is my kids have a lot of buddies. And for the most part, they're all really respectful. And when they come over, it's awesome.
Yep.
You know, they all dig sports, so it's cool. But when it's kids that I'm not familiar with that are disrespectful, I lose my S.
Yep.
And I'm not kidding.
Yep.
Case in point, last night, so we do the trick-or-treating, right? So I get home from work and I said, so what's the plan here? Because we're in a new neighborhood, right? So we don't know really what to expect because we just moved to this house in January. And so she said, well, we're gonna go to this neighborhood and we're gonna go to this neighborhood because he's got buddies in that neighborhood and this neighborhood. Perfect. I go, what do you want? Do you want me to go with? Do you want me to stay home? She said, well, she gave me you can do whatever you want. I said, no. What job do you want me to have? Do you want me to hand out candy or do you want me to come with? That's what
I'll let you pick.
She said, well, just why don't you stay home and hand out candy? I said, perfect. So I did that, and then she wasn't feeling very well, so then they came back, and the boys had a ton of loot. And then I had noticed when I pulled into our neighborhood, there was the signs for haunted garage.
Ooh.
And so I said, well, we got to check that out.
Got to go there, yeah.
So they got back. It was probably 7:40. So it's still, it's dark out, but it's still early.
Yeah,
And I said,
another
boys,
hour.
do you want to walk up the street and go see the haunted garage? And she said, oh, I don't want to. I go, no, I'll walk them up there. And they're like, yeah, let's go do it. So we walked up there. And Mike, there was a group of 7 girls who were probably pre-teens. And all they did for 15 minutes walking through the haunted garage was scream.
Loud. Yeah.
And it wasn't, it was very cool. It wasn't
they
terrifying.
Were yeah. Well, they're working themselves up.
But they were just doing it to do it. They
Yeah.
were just screaming just to scream. And I thought, okay, I need to get out of this as fast as possible. So I can tell you right now that would not have been a good spot for me.
We did.
The haunted garage was very cool, by the way.
We had 0 trick-or-treaters, thank God.
You did?
Yeah, this is our new house, right?
Oh, that's true.
And we're very excited that it's so inaccessible that we had 0 people show up.
And you had all the candy to yourself.
I didn't even buy candy. Didn't even bother buying candy because we knew for a fact no one was coming up there, right?
Okay.
So that was fantastic. I do remember this when you're talking about kids kind of being disrespectful, right?
Oh.
So one of my daughters had a little party and it was some boys were over and some girls were all over. This boy walks in and says hello to one of my daughters, walks right up to our refrigerator and opens it up.
No.
Guess what I did? Congratulations. You're no longer welcome in our house. Get your shoes on and go to the end of the driveway. And he's like, what? And I said, we don't do that. You don't walk into someone's house. And I laid into this kid.
How old was the young man?
14. He was old enough to not be a moron. Yeah. It was a move of like, I don't care, watch. I'm going to walk into your house. And I said, he's not coming back here.
No.
He's not welcome here.
Never again.
And he gets to stand on the end of the driveway and call his parents to come pick him up. And my daughter was mortified. Right?
Tough.
And I said,
Sorry.
I don't care. I'm not having that. That kid is not one that should be allowed in people's houses.
Because I can tell you right now.
What kind
who
of kid
that kid is.
I know that kid.
Yeah, you do.
Right? I know those kids. I wasn't that kid.
No.
But I definitely knew those kids.
To the point where I remember I would almost feel bad if I was even offered something.
Oh, yeah.
If I was starving, they said, oh, are you hungry? I said, no, I'm okay.
No, I'm okay.
I'm okay.
Could I get maybe like a half a cup of water? Just a half a cup?
When my wife and I first started dating, I remember just turning things down because I didn't want to seem like that guy.
Sure.
Even though I wasn't even remotely close to me. Oh my God, I hate this kid. No.
I'm going to give the kid the benefit of the doubt. He's not coming back to my house. Ever. Right? He's not. He's never welcome. But I'm like, oh, that's it. Congratulations. Go down to the end of the driveway. Call your parents. They can come pick you up.
I'm so glad you did that.
I lost my mind. I was like, what? Who do you think you are?
Wait, what now?
Yeah, did you just walk in here and walk right up to my refrigerator and open my... First of all, it's none of your business where, plus you weren't... Oh, Reuvers, you should have seen it. I couldn't believe it. I didn't want to spank him, but my mind said, first of all, he probably could have taken me, right? He's 14 years old, probably has more stamina than I do, but I thought... God, would it be okay if I took him downstairs and spanked him? What would his parents say?
No, see, then you're in trouble.
Yeah. I wasn't.
No, that was
FYI. I was just joking about the spanking part, but
that was a perfect move.
Oh yeah.
Nope. Just put your shoes on and time to go.
You are going to be in this house for exactly 1 minute.
Congratulations.
I was so mad. I did read a story that, in fact, when I was here early, I got here a little early today, and Joe was still here, and I recanted the story of a Wisconsin man playing 17,820 holes of golf this year. That's
repeat
so
that
he's
number?
played 17,820 holes of golf, or 990 rounds, or roughly 49 holes per day. So far, is a Wisconsin guy.
How is that possible?
That is a ton of golf. They said he shows up like before it's bright, so he's first one out.
So
right?
he's out at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yep, he's out right. So
In the
he's
summer.
hitting into the dark, right? Happens to be a scratch golfer, so the guy's a good golfer.
How old is he?
I didn't see in the story.
Okay.
I didn't print it out. You know what? The
I'll look it
printer.
up. Go
Okay,
ahead.
wait. I'm going to tell you something.
All right.
Every time Joe says, "Oh, the printer ran out of ink," every time he says that, you know what I think?
What?
Bull. He just didn't grab. But you know what happened today when I tried to print this out? No ink in the printer. No ink in the printer, so I would not print.
Do you want to know why that is?
Because he prints everything?
Because when Joe prints a story, the printer gets used so much because he doesn't do what the rest of us do, which is take a news story and then turn it into a Word document, so
Sure.
it's just one sheet.
Yep.
Joe will go to USA Today or
Yeah.
the Associate, whatever outlet he's using. He'll print the story from the website, which includes the 19 pages
commercials.
of comments underneath.
I wonder if you could teach him the read panel, right? So that little button that just takes all. Okay, no,
Mike,
it's not.
Mike.
You can't teach him that.
I've tried that. And then I've also tried, Joe, here's what you should do. I set him up a Word document so he could just copy and paste
Yep.
and bring it over. I don't want to do all that. I just want to print. I said, Joe, first of all, it's a much cleaner version of the story because sometimes he'll start reading the cut line and he'll start reading the caption to a photo.
Sure.
Thinking that that's part of the story, but it's not. But then I thought, you know what? This is kind of part of his charm.
Yeah, it makes him human. I did see today that the town council must be really building a ton of people
It is.
because he was signing some documents today.
Yes, he was.
Poor guy. He's going to have carpal tunnel syndrome.
Well, yesterday, I don't know if you caught yesterday's program yet, but he was reading an email about someone that was wondering when they were going to get all their stuff from the town council.
I get it.
And I didn't have the heart to tell him. I said, well, because he said, well, why isn't this getting done, Reuvers? And I didn't have the heart to tell him, well, Joe, you see that stack of things that are meant for you to sign?
Yeah.
That's what we're waiting for. But I didn't want to say that to embarrass him.
You know
on
what
the show.
you should have said is just exactly that. You should have said, Joe, you have to sign all these documents before we can send this stuff out, right? These congratulations, welcome to the town council. I might be making it up, but whatever it says on that. And then you could have said it has to be reminiscent to when you signed all those autographs for your award-winning books that you.
Did you also like the fact that
You
when
could
you
have said
did
that
when you did come in here after we had literally just finished doing Garage Logic, that he was still wearing his headphones, even though he was at the desk in the other room.
Yeah.
That was a nice touch.
Yeah, and then you said he's still wearing his headphones, and he said, "What?
Yeah.
What?" Because he had his headphones on.
So I'm looking at the story. His name is Nolan Krentz, and he's a member of Norsk Golf Club in Mount Horeb, Horeb, Wisconsin. I'm going to guess he's in his late 20s.
Oh, is he that young?
By the photo that I'm seeing with the story. Late 20s
if he's
or early
that
30s.
young, then something's wrong with him because he has does he not? I mean, he had a couple jobs. It said he goes to his job afterward.
Yeah, is he trying to turn pro? Is that his bid
I mean,
here?
a scratch golfer at some public course or private course in Wisconsin does making you a scratch. You're 9 strokes away from being a pro.
Yeah,
You'd have to be a +9.
that's true.
Yeah.
He's probably not going to go pro.
No, it
That
would be
my
incredibly
guess.
difficult to go pro.
Yeah.
But he's getting a lot of practice in. That's a lot of golf. I couldn't play that much.
Well, and that's what I was going to ask. Isn't that boring?
Yeah, I mean,
And I get it. I'm the guy that will watch some random baseball game in the middle of June. I get that. So, and a lot of people say, well, isn't that boring? Yes, to that person, to most people, it might be. But to me, I just like tonight. I'm jacked because I get to watch the World Series. Now, granted, it's the World Series, but
that's on. That's still going.
yeah. But so I get it.
Okay.
So to that guy, it's his Philadelphia and San Diego game in the middle of June. I get that.
Do you hate that the World Series, it no longer matters if you're the best team,
No, I think that's the only thing that will save baseball.
that it's not that you're the best team?
Because I think what's happening with baseball, first of all, I've went on this rant 7 million times, but I'm not a fan of the modern game. I know I still watch because I've been even. Well, you're still watching, aren't you? Well, of course, because I love baseball. But I'm not.
But I'm only
just
drinking 5 beers, not 10.
right. But I'm just not a fan of the modern game itself.
Sure.
I just don't. But I'll still watch it. I admit I will still watch it. But for me, baseball has become college football. Do you know what I mean by that? Mm-hmm. That basically,
I do not know what you mean, but go ahead.
5 teams have a chance to win it.
Okay.
Every year,
Got
and that's
it.
what college
Got it.
football has become.
Yeah.
And I still like watching college football, but I know going into it that 5 teams have a chance to win the national championship.
Was it the Dodgers that won 110 games or what?
Right, and they did end up losing to San Diego.
Yeah, I mean that's unfortunate. You have a huge winning season and you just get wiped out.
But
right?
that's again why you can have a great regular season. You can have a great team built for the regular season, but you know what? This other team might have what it takes to win 3 out of 5 games, and you're screwed.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's tough. I look forward to having that season mean something to me. The baseball season.
I know.
And it's just, although I'm excited about the Vikings, in fact, I was so excited. Today, I was at the mall looking at some stuff for work, right? Actually getting some ideas for something.
Okay.
And I went into a store that made kind of like generic Vikings apparel that looks like the Vikings colors, but it has nothing to do with the Vikings.
Okay, gotcha.
And all it said is, my shirt said something. I bought a T-shirt that said like disappointed since 1961, right? And they had like the optimistic, disappointed.
Right.
You know, they had all these things. And I bought the T-shirt that just said disappointed.
Oh, that's
I wanted
funny.
1 to support local, and 2, you know what's going to happen. It doesn't matter.
Right.
It doesn't matter. You know what's going to happen.
So did you happen to watch? I know you're a big Viking fan. So did you watch the game on Sunday?
Sure did.
Did you see when Jared Allen came out to be inducted into the Ring of Honor at halftime?
No, I heard he came out on a horse, but I did not see it.
And I got to tell you, so as a guy that's been around the horse life for a while now, I'm married into the horse
You
life.
don't really want that out on the field.
Well, I actually thought it was pretty cool that he did that because he was born and raised on a ranch, and that's where he's retired. He and his wife and family they live. I forget where, but they bought like a massive ranch in the middle of nowhere, which is cool.
Very cool.
And it was his horse, and that's
okay. He flew it, or he rode it in, probably.
all I kept thinking was, what if that horse takes a giant dump right in the middle of TCF, U.S. Bank Stadium?
They're prone to do that.
That's what they do.
That's what they do.
That is what they do.
Yeah.
Especially that's what they do when they're unfamiliar with their surroundings. Some horses
They're kind of excited.
They get excited and they get nervous or whatever.
Yeah.
And I just thought, how great would that be? That will live in Twitter infamy.
And what if they did it like right in the center
on the logo.
Yeah, right on the logo.
Well, because that's where the stage was
Yeah,
for
I mean,
him to go up and give a
wouldn't
speech.
that have been unbelievable?
Oh, it would have been
Was his
spectacular.
speech good?
I didn't see the speech. I only saw the part, and I could have looked it up online, but I really didn't
What
care.
do you think of this Peyton and Eli Manning? I think we might have talked. I attempted to watch a little bit of that yesterday.
Yes.
And they kept talking over themselves. Exactly what I do to you. I just don't. I'm just waiting till I can talk, right? But they just kept talking over themselves. And then they had Boomer Esiason on there too.
Yep.
And they were telling like inside jokes like, remember Boomer when you had that 3-11-17? It's like, no one knows what that is. I mean, do you guys remember what that is?
I like when they first started to do it last year. I thought it was really cool. I thought it was novel. I'm kind of a fan of Peyton Manning as a broadcaster and entertainer. I mean, I thought he was a good, obviously a very good Hall of Fame football player. But when they're now doing we've got to have this guest on, and I know that that's a directive from up above because I kind of know how ESPN likes to operate, where all they care about is clicks, all they care about is web visits, all they care about is whatever. And it's still okay, but for me, I just want to watch the football game.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I don't give a damn who because that's why I've always thought it was hilarious when they say, when Tom Brady's done playing, he's going to get a $300 million television contract. Or Tony Romo was the first one to really spark this movement where he signed, I think, the first $100 million television contract, and everybody went, holy crap, what?
He's 100% worth it.
But for me, I'm going to watch a game because it's going to be a compelling game. I have never once turned into a broadcast because this person happened to be doing that game. Do you know what I'm saying?
Chris Collinsworth and Tony Romo will absolutely get my attention.
Seriously?
Oh, absolutely. When Tony seems so intelligent about the game.
Sure.
And that's what I was hoping I was going to get from Peyton and Eli. I have a very small window. I only saw 10 minutes of it with Boomer Esiason, right? And they were talking about Boomer owning a club, and they put up a picture of him modeling in some underwear and stuff. And I was like, oh, I was hoping that Eli and Peyton would say, I bet you what they should do here is this, or kind of predict of what should happen.
And you do get some moments like that. I think it was the first game of the year where, it was when Russell Wilson was playing against his former team, and Peyton's going, oh my God, call the timeout. Like, that's the stuff I want.
Yeah, this inside from the best of the best of the best, instead of my buddy Jason sitting on the end of my couch saying, why are they going to timeout?
Even if he's not correct, he still gives you a perspective that no one else can because he's been in that situation.
Well, and Romo will predict exactly what plays are coming up.
Right.
Tony will say, "Oh, they're going to run this." You even heard
based
him
upon a formation.
I mean, honest to God, it's clear as day. It's like, can the members of those teams see this same format, and do they all know what's going to happen?
But so I routinely have the Sunday ticket because obviously I'm going to watch the Vikings game, but sometimes whatever else is offered locally, I don't want to watch the Bears play the Lions. I don't give a damn about that game.
Yeah.
I'm going to tune into a game that I find compelling, and I don't care who's broadcasting it.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Granted, I will notice if they're poor.
Sure.
Because, normally if the Vikings have a bad season, we get Chris Myers with whatever idiot they're trying out to become the next, whoever. So, I mean, I normally don't care, but I will say this. They do stick out when they're bad. Because remember when the Vikings played the Saints in London, and we were stuck with Mark Bleepin Sanchez.
Oh, was he bad?
Oh God, he is god-awful.
Game. I listened to that game. Yeah,
it's always, hey guys.
Oh, really?
He's one of those broadcasters.
He has my voice. He doesn't have that cool guy. Okay.
So speaking of Tom Brady,
it's our Tom Brady segment.
It
is
our Tom Brady segment. So Tom Brady got candid about his personal life, spilling over into his work and making headlines. On the October 31st, rumor has it that was yesterday, episode of his Let's Go podcast with Larry Fitzgerald and Jim Gray, the Tampa Bay quarterback was asked, what's going on? ? And while it referred to his team being out of sync after their third straight loss, it also touched on the end of his marriage to Gisele Bündchen. After 13 years of marriage, Brady and Bündchen announced on October 28th that they had officially divorced. Quote, I think there's a lot of professionals in life that go through things that they deal with at work and they deal with at home, Brady told Gray. Obviously, the good news is it's a very amicable situation. I'm really focused on two things, taking care of my family and certainly my children. And secondly, doing the best job I can to win football games. So that's what professionals do. You focus at work when it's time to work, and then when you come home, you focus on the priorities that are at home. He continued. All you can do is the best you can do. That's what I'll just continue to do as long as I'm working and as long as I'm being a dad. Brady was asked if there has been a challenge trying to compartmentalize his personal life and work, to which he replied, that's what being a professional is. He said that he's dealt with a lot of challenging situations on and off the field over the last 23 years, and a lot of it does play out in front of a lot of people, he said, adding that people have gotten to know him through watching him play football on TV.
You know what I feel badly about? No matter what, the next girl he gets is going to be uglier. Right? No matter what.
What? Really?
She's so pretty. Huh. I mean, the next one has to be uglier. That's just the way it's going to be. Usually men like to upgrade, right? They're always like looking for the next hottest girl.
Okay.
He's going to go down. Because arguably she's one of the most beautiful women in the world.
She is.
Although I have a strange feeling if there's some random like Indian gal who's the most beautiful woman in the world, we just don't know her yet, somehow she's going to come onto Tom's radar.
I've said this a bunch, but my guess is they're both going to be just fine in that
I think so. What if he just dates a really pedestrian woman?
And I know I'm a bit biased. Yeah, Anne that works at the supermarket.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I mean, wouldn't that be cool?
Well, isn't that what Tiger did? Didn't Tiger basically marry the babysitter from next door?
I think it was one of the managers of his restaurants.
Oh, I thought why did I think she was a babysitter?
I don't know. I don't think they got married, but I think there was a manager.
No. What's her name? Elin Nordgren.
Oh, was she a?
I thought she was a babysitter for the neighbors.
Oh, that could have been. I was talking about the new gal that he's dating now.
That I don't know.
Yeah,
okay. I'll
yeah.
trust your judgment.
Yeah, but she was still a very pretty girl. But his and nothing's wrong with his new girlfriend. She seems like a really sweet girl, and she's doing the right things. But I think she managed one of his restaurants or a restaurant that he frequented.
Got it.
And that's how they met.
Well, she is Giselle I'm talking about now.
Yeah.
And I know I'm biased because I'm a Tom Brady guy.
Yeah.
In fact, my kid, my youngest, dressed up as Tom Brady for Halloween.
Okay.
Shoulder pads, everything.
Really?
Jersey,
Okay.
everything.
I dressed up as Giselle. So
You did.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Okay.
I bet you got a lot of candy.
Yeah.
So the only thing is, and I've never met her, don't know anything
Yes,
about her.
yeah.
I'm just, from the public perception, I have got to believe that she is about as high maintenance as it possibly gets.
I don't know why you'd say that. I mean,
Oh,
women
my
that beautiful
God.
are always super normal and sane.
Well, there's two things that stick out. You remember the infamous video of one of the Super Bowls they lost. I believe it was the second one that they
He can't
lost to
catch
the
his
Giants.
own balls or whatever. Yeah.
She went, and I think she might have been a bit tipsy because she had been in the Super Bowl suite
Sure.
for the entire game.
She had 2 Miller Lights. She was gone.
But
yeah.
she was just berating whoever it was, not at this person, but
Yeah.
about the game. And I'm
Yes.
thinking, every camera in the building is on you.
I think her quote was something like, "He can't throw and catch the
he
balls."
cannot throw it to himself
Yeah.
and catch the ball.
Yes, yeah. So, okay, let me ask you this.
All right.
Dinner, Empire State Building. It's going to be totally fantastic. Just you and one person. Who is it? Tom Brady or Giselle? Which one do you pick? If you could only have dinner with one of them.
It's not even close.
Oh my God. Okay, Giselle. I'm sure.
No, it's Brady.
Are you kidding me?
Not even joking.
I can listen to Brady on a podcast tell me about how much of a dork. You've met athletes; they're dorks. All they think about is sports.
Right.
Giselle.
But see, you know what though? I don't think I'd ask him anything about sports. And I'm not kidding.
Would you just say, "What's it like to make out with
Hey,
Giselle?"
remember that time? No,
Is it okay if I ask Giselle out? I mean, now that you're done with her,
That's why I want to. That's why I want to go to dinner with him.
That's what every player that's playing against Tom Brady should shoot him a DM saying, "Hey man, I know this might be a little too soon, but is it okay if I ask Giselle out?" Because talk about getting inside a guy's mind, right?
Yep.
That could drive him nuts. Not
Might
that
I
he's not.
advise you,
Yeah.
if you haven't seen it already,
Yeah.
you're reminding me of something I saw. I believe this was during the Sunday night game. There's a new commercial for Jeep. I think I did own a Jeep once. But whatever. I don't love or hate Jeeps.
They're
Sure,
fun.
whatever.
I love them. Yeah.
It's the all new Jeep Grand Wagoneer featuring Derek Jeter.
Oh,
Have you seen the ad?
I have not.
You may want to.
Oh, wait, okay.
It features the new Derek Jeter because it starts out with I know his name and it's escaping me right now. The legendary public address announcer from Yankee Stadium who is no longer with us because they would use him announcing Derek Jeter.
Got it.
Even all throughout his career, even though he had passed on, and I believe Derek had requested that.
Very cool.
Derek Jeter is the definition of cool. And so when you see this new ad, it features Derek's transition now into just being a dad and being a husband, and it features him and his wife on a date night.
Okay.
I advise if you haven't seen it,
Did it make you want to just go buy a Jeep Grand Cherokee?
buy 10 of them.
Really?
Yes.
If I'm not
It's a
mistaken,
very moving ad.
those cars. We're going to get into cars now. Cool looking car. Mm-hmm. They're like $100,000.
A Jeep Wagoneer?
Yes.
No way.
I'm going to look it up right now. They
You
are
are
100.
kidding me.
Nope. They're unbelievably expensive, and maybe they're worth it. I don't know. Right? They look awesome.
Huh.
Are you looking it up?
I am. I cannot believe this. You know who Mrs. Jeter is, right?
Yeah.
Hannah Davis.
Okay. I thought it was Minka Kelly, but I'm not.
No, he dated her.
Okay, so I'm looking at
got
a
an impressive
MSRP of
roster.
$74,500 on a 2022 Jeep Wagoneer Series 2, but that's before they put windows and door locks on the thing.
Huh.
Right?
Okay.
I mean, talk about when did these things become so much?
That's pretty insane if you ask me.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, and I think it's a great looking Jeep, but I don't know. $100,000. I mean, they're all over $100,000. I'm going to tell you, this one is saying 75, but I know I've seen them for 100.
Well, it's funny because I purchased the vehicle I'm driving now. I purchased 2 years ago, and when I bought it in January of it would have been 2021. I got a really good price on it because back then, remember everything was slow, so stuff was really really cheap, and I'm being offered basically what I paid for.
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Because the demand for used vehicles now is just through the roof.
And you put 4,000 miles on it just driving it home.
Yeah, basically,
right?
yeah.
I wonder if that's going to start slowing down. I've noticed. So I've been looking, and I want to make this really, really clear. I've just been looking at the new Corvettes, right? I'm not going to go out and buy a Corvette.
Well, you're a car guy.
I'm a car guy, but I think the new Corvette, like the 2020 and on, the new body style, is unbelievable looking. I mean, they made that car. I haven't had anybody say to me that they think it's a downgrade from a previous Corvette, right?
Okay.
And they were selling for $139, $129, $119, and now all of a sudden you see them at MSRP. I was like, oh, that's a big difference, because they were going for well over MSRP, like 20 or 30,000 over, and now they're going for roughly what MSRP is, that 75, 80, 95,000. And I was like, that's pulled back $30,000 on that car. So I think things are going to start to get a little bit more calmed down.
Speaking of Halloween, did you by chance catch? You're on social media a little bit. You're
100%
a big TikTok guy.
Yeah, I've really calmed myself on TikTok.
All right. Well, you've seen the Spirit Halloween memes that have been.
I love the one about Joe Souchere.
And that's what I was going to bring up. So they've been great. In fact, a lot of them have actually made me snicker, including the one where my friend Angie, who used to work in this market, now works in Chicago, had one about radio host. And it's the girl with the peace sign with the sunglasses on in the studio, and says still has 3 part-time jobs, has a photo of that one dead celebrity from 10 years ago. It made me laugh, right? Well, the one from Joe started to make the rounds yesterday, so our guy Jeremy, who's behind the scenes and a diehard GLer, put it together, and he said, will Joe get mad if I put this out? And I responded to him saying, I don't give a damn. Put it out there.
It's hilarious, yeah.
So we started to talk about it on today's show.
Okay.
Because Joe didn't really get it, that the Spirit thing had kind of started to make the rounds. And he said, well, no one's going to buy that costume. And I said, Joe, it's a joke. It's a bit.
It's a parody on a costume package.
Right. And he said, well, I don't get it. Why would anyone want to buy a costume of me? And I said, Joe, that's not the point. It was just.
Didn't you say everyone in the town council gets one?
No. Oh my God! I should have said that, and then his mind would have just exploded.
Joe, don't worry about it. Everybody in the town council gets a full costume of Joe Souchere.
Oh my goodness!
That was a really clever. If you don't know what I'm talking about, everybody has that packaging from Spirit Halloween. Those temporary stores that pop up that are like crazy filled and busy for a month. And they have the same packaging for every costume, just with some really cheap writing on the outside and then a random picture. And they did one for Joe, and it is hilarious. Did you read the finer points of it?
I did.
Oh, okay, on GL earlier today. Okay,
yeah, I did.
Go back and listen to GL because it is funny.
All right, so there was. I'm trying to pull up this other story that I had for you.
What did you think? Did you guys talk about the fun and the razzmatazz that was going on downtown the other night?
Oh my goodness!
Did you see the videos?
To the point where I can't tell anymore. Because obviously, I at one point in my life, for a stretch, had a vested interest in that, especially
for
that
5-6 years of your life
area.
Yeah.
That's what I did every weekend, and I did it willingly because it was great money. But I can't tell anymore if I'm angry about it or if I just find it sad.
It is sad. It's sad. I was looking at the video was outside. I think it was on 6th, and it was outside the AC Hotel. And I thought, if you were up on the 4th floor of that hotel because you had a business meeting at the Wells Fargo building, and you look down and all you see is 100 people fighting and 500 people in the street, would you say, I'm never coming back to this town ever in my entire life?
Right.
It's never happening. What is going on here? And it was just, what was weird, it was just girls beating on girls, just girl fights all over the place, violent girl fights. It's like, what is going on? What is and then today I was listening to a sports talk from yesterday, and they're talking about they're putting a new bar in a new sports bar in downtown Minneapolis.
I was stunned when Royce said it too.
Someone could say to me, "You can have this space for free," and I would say, "Thank you, but no, thank you."
Right?
How are they getting somebody to go in there?
The only thing I can think of, Mike, because I share your sentiment 100%, but the only thing I can think of is they're anticipating it becoming a gambling spot. Because if that's the case, they will make money.
Okay,
but right now, I don't know how the hell they're going to make any money.
Okay, so it's such a
Because you're going to have
sports
nothing
bar.
but problems.
Nothing but problems, right? Nothing but problems. You're going to have to close really early.
And FYI, and I know this firsthand, they are so desperate for people to come work those jobs right now. They're hiring shady characters to work those jobs right now.
Yeah, they're hiring people that they wouldn't let into their bar work at their bar.
So,
right?
no thanks.
And I just look at that. Are you and I? We're big sports fans, right? Relatively. Mm-hmm. And are you going to say to me, "Hey, let's go downtown Minneapolis and watch the Vikings game"?
Zero chance.
It's never going to happen.
Nope.
Right? I love Minneapolis.
Yep.
I love that town, and it breaks my heart. And when you talk about Royce talks about it, he doesn't talk about any fear in being downtown, right? Because he's downtown a lot. But he's not downtown at 11:30, hopefully.
No.
And if he is, he's just coming back from a Wolves game or something, and you'd hope you're going with the crowd, right?
Yep.
It seems so. I don't know. I think we should call it the National Guard again and just say, "Oh, we need the National Guard downtown," and say, "Sorry, we're bringing in the Guard. You all got to go home."
I couldn't find the story, but I did find an email I'd like to share with you before we go here today. This comes to us from Kevin. Frequent contributor to the Garage Logic podcast, and also, as you'll know, as you'll hear, a fan of the Weekly Scramble. Hey, Reuvers, really enjoy the Weekly Scramble with you and Mike Fredoloni. I've noticed every once in a while you might tell a joke, so here's one. We all know Henry Winkler, right?
The Fonz.
He was on a plane, Mike, and a flight attendant came up to Henry and asked, would you like some headphones? Henry looked up and said, yes, that sounds great, but it's pronounced Fonz.
I don't know if you can say that.
Oh, it's a podcast.
Okay.
Well, because, he might have been watching a movie.
Yeah, he wants the ear protection, yes. Reuvers, you're the best.
Thank you, Mike. If you could do us a favor, thank you, Kevin. If you could do us a favor and please rate and review this show on whatever platform you happen to be listening to it, as long as it's still available and as long as we're still allowed to do it, please do so. That's Mike Fredoloni. My name is Chris Reuvers. Until next week, cheers.